I am a follower of Jesus Christ. I have an opinion and I share it with you. I am the salt of the earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Salt of the Earth podcast. In a display of unprecedented audacity, President Joe Biden, in the waning moments of his tenure, chose to distribute pardons with the fervent enthusiasm of Oprah Winfrey handing out cars. You get a pardon, and you get a pardon. Everyone gets a pardon. This act, executed just 15 minutes before President Trump's inauguration, was not merely a footnote but a glaring testament to a legacy marred by controversy, corruption, and a flagrant disregard for accountability. His departure from office was shrouded in a veil of secrecy and protectionism, a stark contrast to the principles of transparency and justice one might expect from a leader of the free world. The decision to backdate these pardons to January 1st, 2014, raises eyebrows and questions alike. What was Biden's role during this period, both in government and in the murky waters of his family's business dealings? From 2014, as vice president under President Barack Hussein Obama, Biden was deeply entrenched in U.S. foreign policy, particularly with Ukraine and China. This timeline is not coincidental. It aligns suspiciously with when Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma Holdings in Ukraine, a position that netted him up to $1 million annually, despite any apparent expertise in the energy sector. The Biden family's financial entanglements with CEFC China Energy Company, where James Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, Valerie Biden Owens, John T. Owens, and Francis W. Biden also benefited, further muddies the water. Financial transactions trace back to Hunter's Owasco PC, which received payments from international sources, including a notable $5 million transfer from CEFC distributed among the Biden clan. The full and unconditional pardon extended to these family members screams of an attempt to shield them from scrutiny or potential legal repercussions. This action is particularly damning when considering the Democratic Party's supposed commitment to integrity and the rule of law. Moreover, extending this clemency to Dr. Anthony Fauci, who during his tenure at the NIAID in 2014 was involved in funding research that included controversial collaborations with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, raises questions about the true extent of accountability. Fauci's role in the White House Coronavirus Task Force from 2020 to 2022 further complicates his narrative, especially when one considers the implications of needing a pardon for his medical advice. The pardons also covered members of the January 6 committee, including both Democrats and Republicans like Benny Thompson, Zoe Lofgren, Adam Schiff, Pete Aguilar, Stephanie Murphy, Jamie Raskin, Elaine Luria, Liz Cheney, and Adam Kinzinger. Was this a legal overreach or an attempt to sanitize a politically charged investigation? General Mark Milley, accused of undermining national security by engaging in unauthorized communications with China, also received a pardon. This act, if true, would be tantamount to treason. Yet, Biden chose to end his presidency by ensuring Milley left with no honor or dignity, protected from the consequences of his actions. The mainstream media's silence on this matter is deafening. If Donald Trump had enacted similar last-minute pardons, the outcry would have been incessant. This hypocrisy in coverage, or lack thereof, suggests a media landscape more interested in narratives than news. The absence of this story from primetime news, The excusal of these pardons as protection from a quote-unquote Trump revenge that has yet to materialize, and the lack of any significant discussion from the DOJ or even comments from figures like Chuck Schumer, who once labeled preemptive pardons as an abuse of power, all point to a systemic failure in journalism. As noted by @PagodaOcean on X, Biden's legacy is one where 50 years of public service has been flushed down the toilet in a matter of a few years of family grift. End of quote. The legitimacy of Hunter Biden's laptop, initially dismissed by mainstream media figures like Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes, was a clear example of media bias intended to influence the 2020 election outcome. @WillyCoyote719's post on X briefly points out the legal absurdity, stating, quote, "A president cannot pardon someone for a crime that has not been committed or where no legal wrongdoing has been established. There must be an offense or crime recognized under U.S. law for pardon to be applicable." End of quote. This highlights the questionable legality and ethics of Biden's actions. In the realm of media coverage, the contrast is stark. For instance, when covering the pardons by Biden, major networks like CNN and MSNBC either downplayed the event or framed it as a necessary measure to protect democracy from a supposed vendetta by President Donald Trump. Contrast this with the coverage of President Trump's pardons, where these same outlets depicted each action as an assault on justice, with headlines screaming about corruption and abuse of power. The ethical standards also diverge significantly. Democrats are portrayed with a halo of good intentions, their actions scrutinized through a lens of progressive politics, where the ends justify the means. Republicans, however, are held to a standard where personal conduct and political actions are closely examined for any hint of impropriety, often with an underlying narrative of malevolence. This disparity in treatment explains why there is no public outcry over Biden's pardons. The media has conditioned the public to expect different ethical rules for different political affiliations. However, the true measure of Biden's pardons can be found in the scripture from Luke 12:2, which states, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known." This passage underscores the certainty that the truth will emerge, regardless of the efforts to obscure it. The call for a full investigation into the dealings of those pardoned by Biden is not just warranted. It is essential for the American people to understand the depth of the corruption that has been shielded under the guise of presidential clemency. Biden's presidency may be over, but the repercussions of his actions will echo, demanding transparency and justice, revealing that indeed, in the light of truth, nothing remains hidden. Joe Biden left the presidency as a diminished political figure. He goes down in history as an old man, corrupt, lying, divisive, incompetent, vindictive, and a total failure. The worst president in America's history, his legacy is one of tarnished ideals and broken promises, a stark reminder of how power, when misused, can lead to a nation's disappointment and contribute to a destroyed nation thanks to his poor and catastrophic leadership. My final question to the January 6 committee members, Benny Thompson, Zoe Lofgren, Adam Schiff, Peter Aguilar, Stephanie Murphy, Jamie Raskin, Elaine Luria, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, and the Biden family, James Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, Valerie Biden Owens, John T. Owens, Francis W. Biden, Hunter Biden, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and General Mark Milley. If you didn't do anything wrong, why did you accept the pardon? Be the salt of the earth.